Hey, party people. Today I want to walk you through some of the basics of costing and then go over kind of my hot takes on costing. First of all, let's go over the basics. So, what do we do when we're costing out a garment? Okay, first you have to add up all the materials that go into making your product, which is why your bill of materials is so detailed. Okay, it should include your vendor and it should include, where they're shipping from, because those shipping costs, the taxes, all of that should be included in your materials costing. Your zipper, where it's coming from, the shipping. Zippers are very heavy. Are they coming from overseas? Okay. The yardage of the fabric that you're using, any buttons, interfacing. Most people don't count thread unless it's a specialty thread for like a very unique top stitching, like a very specific top stitching. For the most part, just the thread used to just sew regular seams is not counted. And then section number 2 is the labor. So everything from the cutting, the grading, the sewing, the finishing. And finishing can mean anything from adding, lasers and acids to bleach your jeans, all the way to clipping all the little bits of thread all over the garment, punching buttonholes, all of that. Sometimes you will use a factory that gives you kind of like a bundle price on a lot of things. Like if you use a vertically integrated production facility, they will cut your fabric, they will sew your garments, they will do the finishing, and they'll give you a price per garment perhaps. Okay. So whenever you're doing your cost sheet, make sure that you're listing all the things included in the bundle price so you know what's included and what you have to pay separately for. So that's that. And then after you get those things together, you want to add in certain percentages for overhead. It's really hard to kind of quantify and divvy up design development costs per garment. That's why the more you're able to sell of a particular pattern you developed, this is why, you perfect one jeans fit. And you just want to keep making it over and over again in new jeans, in new weights of denim, in new finishes of denim, but continue with that pattern because now, the development costs are nothing. So, okay, you see what I'm doing there? But you do need to put in certain percentages to pay off things like you need sales, marketing budget, insurance, overhead, that sort of thing. So you should put in a percentage for those things. And then if you're wholesale, okay, then you're going to sell it with a markup to, department stores, boutiques, what have you. And if you're D2C, you're also going to mark it up a little bit and sell it in your online store. I have a whole video on fashion sales that you should watch for more information on that. All these basics brings me to hot take number 1. The reigning conventional wisdom says that 60 to 70% of your cost should be fabric. And I think that is ridiculous. Okay. Let's say you spend $6 on fabric, which means you're going to spend what? $1.50 cutting and sewing the whole thing. And then all of the markup and all of the overhead and all the other things you need to do to your garment, all the shipping and everything, shipping out to stores is going to be $2.50 per garment. So your cost is $10. Let's say you mark it up and it's $20. You sell it to a store. They mark it up 2.2. So it's $45 in the store and you'll have spent $1.50 cutting and sewing and finishing the garment. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, well, with different currencies and different countries, things are cheaper in different countries because of the, the cost of living over there. Yeah, but $1.50? $1.50? People only think that other things are expensive until they sit down and think, how much is my time worth? How much do I think somebody else should pay me for this labor? Okay? You know for a fact that garment workers the world over do not get paid enough. And why should they cost so little compared to the fabric? By your argument, are you saying that only industrialized nations with a high cost of living are making cottons and silks? No, that's absurd. I say it should be more like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, where it's 1/3 materials, 1/3 labor, and 1/3 overhead, like that whole last section I spoke of before, cost of marketing, overhead, like all the extras that you need to run your business. I think that you're able to have a more correct assessment of the cost of doing business than the conventional wisdom of 60 to 70% for fabric. This leads me to hot take number 2. Do not charge your plus size customer more money than your straight size customer for the same style. Okay? If you have a style, let's say this t-shirt, and you're running it in sizes 0 to 30, okay? It should all be one price for each size, not one price for the straight size and one price for the plus size. And I don't want to hear it. Oh, but the fabric, it takes up so much fabric. Okay, first of all, I already just went on about how the cost of the fabric should be a smaller percentage of the whole anyway. First of all, okay? Second of all, you already charge the same amount for a size 0 and a size 14. So why would it be any different if the size brackets were moved around? Third, when you figure out the yield for your fabric for your cost sheet, okay, when it says, oh, this fabric is $5 a yard, and you put in how much yardage you need for your costing. Do you put in 1 yard because that's how much you need for extra small? 1.25 yards because that's what it takes for a size 12? No. You average them. And not only do you average them, but you average them according to your sales projections, okay? Typically speaking, you sell more of your sample size, okay? This is something that the industry likes to joke about, but in an unfunny way, because the sample size is often the best developed, processed through, fit on people more. And so that is often the best pattern out of the whole graded scale. And so that one sells the most. And then, as I'm always saying, the sample size is your middle size. And then typically the ones at the end, 0 to 14, whatever the other end of your scale is, typically those sell not even half of what you sell in the middle. So you do a weighted average, you're going to do the math, okay? Or you're going to hire someone to do the math, all right? It's a little bit of algebra, all right? But that's how you figure out how much yardage you're actually using per garment. You're not making separate cost sheets for a size 0 and a size 8, okay? Now, you do that for the full range of sizes. Some people have made the argument that you're doing development for plus and for straight. So what? You're not using the straight size, like the straight size development costs on the plus size. Okay? Every single garment has been developed and has gone through development costs. So why would you charge straight size and plus size development on the plus size garment and only straight size development on the... That argument holds as much water as a sieve. Brands are already successfully doing this. Brands like Universal Standard, Jessica, those very ruched and roughly and frilly using lots of yardage fabrics. Okay, those brands are doing it quite successfully off the top of my head. They cannot be the only one. And here is a key component of costing, okay? Showing 2 different prices for the same exact style is a marketing and branding nightmare. It shows that you do not care for your plus size customer. However you feel about your plus size customer, it really shows that you don't care. And there are some people who, even if they are not plus size, really care that you care about plus size. There are many people out there who are as pasty as I am, Okay? I have never needed an extended foundation shade in my life. But there are many people, such as myself, who support brands who offer a much wider foundation range because we look at those brands more favorably. What am I wearing today? I think Pat McGrath. If you do your math wrong and you end up making a little less money on your plus size clothing than your straight size clothing, then consider it a marketing fee to showcase to the world that your brand has integrity and cares about people of lots of different sizes. Costing is absolutely part of your sales and marketing strategy. Okay? It absolutely is. And speaking to that point, let's talk about loss leaders. Loss leaders exist in every industry. Okay? Sometimes some industries are a little bit more public about it than others. Okay. So what is a loss leader? Let me start by giving you a couple of examples. Costco, the big wholesale chain, Costco, they sell these rotisserie chickens on the cheap. Okay. It costs them more money to produce these chickens and sell them than it does to make them. Okay. But it gets people in the store. People love a Costco rotisserie chicken. I am part of people. I love a Costco rotisserie chicken. Okay. I will cut it up. I will put it into salads. I will make all kinds of other foods with it. I will just eat the chicken. And then I will take the skeleton. I will make a chicken stock with it. Like, I love a Costco rotisserie chicken. Okay. They are not making money off the chickens. They are making money off the foot traffic that drives people into the stores looking for that chicken. And of course, I have not been to every Costco in the world, but they are typically in the back of the store so that you have to walk the whole entire length of the warehouse to get to your chicken. And let me tell you, those chickens are so popular. I've seen this many times where if the racks are empty, people will just stand there and wait and wait. They just stand around. This is why people call them Costco zombies, because they're just like, chicken, when's the chicken coming out? They're really in it for the chicken. Me, I'm too impatient. I'll just go shop elsewhere and then come back. Costco also has these hot dogs that are $1.50 for a hot dog and a drink. And in today's economy, you cannot go anywhere and get a full-size hot dog and a drink for $1.50. But the old Costco CEO who set up that pricing, he publicly said to the new CEO that if you change the Costco pricing on the hot dog and drink combo, I can't remember if he had said that he was going to kill him or just take his job back. That's another loss leader. Another loss leader is diapers. Okay. So diapers are something that many families need, many households need. Okay. And because they need so many of them, they will look around to see where they can get a decent deal. And that is something that will get people into the store. They'll put the diapers in the very back of the middle of the store, and they will get people in the store like, oh, I know that place has the cheapest diapers. They will get people in the door. It's similar with other kind of household staples like eggs, milk. They are often loss leaders. Loss leaders are not the same as penetration pricing. Penetration pricing is when you want to penetrate the market with your initial price offering, like a special deal, like say your first month free on a subscription model. That's more, penetration pricing. Loss leaders are just consistently, we're always going to sell you this chicken for hella cheap. So you come and blow your whole paycheck on, frozen taquitos. Right now, the way the fashion industry functions, it has for a while, ready to wear, the clothes you see on the runway are the loss leaders. Most houses do not make money off the clothes that come off the runway. They make money on the accessories, the belts, the bag. I have mentioned many times before that runways are marketing ploys. People keep asking me, like, do I need to do runway shows for my fashion business? You don't. There are many successful companies out there who have never done a runway show. Here's the thing, though. You can't run a bunch of ads and just do endless editorials in magazines of a bunch of naked people just like holding up accessories to cover their bits and bobbins. I mean, you could. It just gets boring after a while. You know, if you're a certain Olympic pole vaulter, you might need a Birkin instead of a Kelly to cover all your bits and bobs. But think about how you can create a loss leader for your brand that serves like the Costco chicken, something somebody actually likes, uses, and wants in their home. Okay, not something that you're just kind of, you throw down the runway and then it goes into your archives, you lend it to magazines. I mean, there's not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think it would be great if you could think of a loss leader that people actually like, that will drive traffic to your website, to your store. You know, something that will create a lot of buzz without, you know, creating a whole runway collection every season. Fourth hot take. This is not really a hot take. I think it's a hot take for me to tell everyone. I don't think people like to talk about this much, but whatever. I got accused of gatekeeping last week, which I find hilarious. Like, are you new here? The thing about costing is there is no hard and fast rule for markup. I often say that kind of the standard rule for department stores and boutiques to mark up wholesale garments is 2.2. And even then, that's just kind of, you know, the prerogative of the department store. Designers, on the other hand, they can go from like 30 to 100%. Like, they are all over the place. And it is really just, you know, what side of the bed the creative director rose on that morning, how they feel about a thing. No, but like a lot of it has to do with perceived value. That's why a lot of the time people can mark up leather goods, because leather in itself has a lot of perceived value. You know, a brand could carry 3 very different things that each cost $100 to make. And they could each have very different prices at market depending on, it's a lot of how much do you think people will pay for it? How high of a price do you think we could get away with? And of course they think backwards, like, well, if the department store is going to do 2.2, then we want to keep it here to make it reasonable. Do we care about reasonable? Do we want to be Loro Piana and sell a $40,000 sweater just for funsies? A lot of it is trial and error. You know how Chanel keeps raising the price of its bags? Like, it's been going on for a couple years now, where every few months they're like, oh, we're going to raise the price of our bags a little. And everyone's just like, ah. And then people kind of get used to it. And then we get another press release from Chanel. We're going to raise the price on our bags a little more. Listen, it's not about the cost. It's not about the cost. They are trying to figure out how much they can get away with before people stop buying bags in high enough numbers to affect their bottom line. You know, this is why brands don't send me bags and stuff, because I'm so mean to them. On a more relatable example, okay, you know Subway, the sandwich chain, okay, they used to have the $5 footlong for a really long time. And then magically, overnight, they were like, oh yeah, they're $14 now. Because it's so expensive to get these products, blah, blah, blah. How are you going to go from $5 to $14 and think people are going to follow you? Like, you are really thinking a little too highly of yourself. Nobody was buying $14 footlongs from Subway. If you want to spend $14 on a sandwich, they're going a little bit more bougie, where they know, like, ingredients are going to be a little bit nicer. Okay. And so that wasn't working. And so recently Subway's like, haha, just kidding. It was an extended April Fool's joke. Our footlongs are now $6.99. And I read these articles and I read these headlines, and they're like, yeah, I don't think consumers are buying it. They remember the $14 footlong and they're like, what is this price jumping? Do you really need $6.99? Like, they don't believe that Subway needs this extra money to make the same sandwich anymore, because they were so willing to try to sell it for $14. I mean, with the whole Jared thing and everything, like, that brand has lost a lot of brand integrity. So you got to be careful about making giant leaps in pricing, you know, which is why I am always saying to people, you have to be really aware of the cost of materials. You cannot go to trade shows and just shop for any old fabric you want because you have to stay within your price point. One of the reasons why J. Crew started declining is they kind of got too big for their britches and they started selling a lot of pricier things. And maybe it did cost that much more to make them. But the fact of the matter is that's not why people were going to J. Crew in the first place. And all of these nice preppy basics that they were used to were now being replaced by cardigans with bejeweled collars and stuff they weren't really known for, $500, $400 cardigans, which is not the J. Crew that they remember. And so doing these giant leaps in pricing, people will lose faith in the integrity of your brand. Okay. Consistency is key. So those are my 4 hot takes on costing for fashion brands. Drop me your questions below. Drop me your video requests below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today. And I will see you in the next video.